we had them, and I would have taken the equipment out, I would have taken the people out, and then we would have bombed every base but Bagram. We had to keep that because that's near China and Iran. So we were going to keep that for other purposes. I mean, they spent $10 billion building Bagram, and then they handed it out overnight. They give them the keys. I've never heard any. I have never seen stupidity like this. And they're trying to now, the narrative, Biden got out like he's brave. He got out like a man that was just fleeing for his life. This is the United States of America. All over the world, they're laughing at us.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We're starting to learn the identities of some of the large but still unknown number of Americans, in the low hundreds, they've assured us, who were abandoned by the U.S. military this week and remain trapped in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. The Sacramento Bee has just reported that at least 24 students enrolled in the San Juan Unified School District in the state of California are stranded somewhere in Afghanistan tonight. No one's certain where they are or how they're going to get home. The White House hasn't bothered to comment despite being asked. What's so interesting, the contrast that informs us really, is that over the past week, this same administration has overseen the evacuation of tens of thousands of unvetted Afghan nationals, many of whom will now be moved into neighborhoods around the United States and stay permanently.
The American people should hear this. $300 million a day for 2 decades. You take the number of 1 trillion, as many say, that's still $150 million a day for 2 decades. What have we lost as a consequence in terms of opportunities? I refuse to continue a war that was no longer in the service of the vital national interest of our people.
Tonight, a field of ravenous flames swirling at the doorstep of thousands, laying siege to South Lake Tahoe, forcing a state of emergency. Overnight, through choking smoke, firefighters push back, working around the clock to protect homes in neighboring communities.
Now we're going to turn to that raging inferno in California. The Caldor fire exploding in size, forcing thousands more to evacuate. Traffic was backed up for miles as highways were closed for safety. Kanan Whitworth has the latest.
Overnight, the massive Caldor fire forcing thousands more Californians to leave their homes behind.
This Caldor fire is burning up all this brush on the ground. You see those flames are going hundreds of feet into the air, and you see the embers that are flying off those flames, so those can start new fires some 5 miles away.
Nearly 60,000 people now under evacuation orders as firefighters wage an all-out battle against the flames.
Mandatory evacuations. Please pack up and leave now.
Meteorologist Bill Cairns now. Bill, we're looking at 62 million people from North Carolina to Maine bracing for flooding now because of this slow-moving storm that we're still dealing with and the heat that we're seeing down in Louisiana and places like that. Walk us through this. Time it out for us.
Well, today's a dangerous day. I mean, it's well known, actually. You mentioned the linemen, that a lot of times we lose more people after the storm than during the storm. You know, people putting generators in their house and the carbon monoxide poisoning and the cleanup efforts with chainsaws, things like that. We can lose a lot of lives. So today is a pretty scary setup day weather-wise across Pennsylvania, upstate New York, northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, and even Massachusetts. Ida's coming through it, combined now with another storm, and this is like a washcloth just being wrung out over the top of these areas. This is a rare, you mentioned at the top of the show, we only get about 14 high-risk flash flood days during the year, and almost 50% of our flash flood deaths occur on these 14 days.
We begin tonight with severe weather, the threat as we come on the air. In fact, a tornado watch was issued in New York City just moments ago, New York through parts of Connecticut. These are all from storms from what was Hurricane Ida, now racing up the coast tonight, deadly flooding and several reported tornadoes. In fact, those tornado watches in parts of the east and what's being called a high-risk alert for flash flooding in much of the Northeast tonight. Those tornado watches in 7 states, this one reported near Annapolis, Maryland today. Debris flying through the sky in front of this driver, damage littering the road after it passed. The rain triggering flash flooding and high water rescues in Rockville, Maryland, and near Pittsburgh. Children were rescued from their school bus trapped on a flooded road. Again, watches and alerts from Virginia right up through Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, up to Boston into the night.